Thank you, and thanks of first the organizing committee that's having me here for the fourth time already. It's always nice to be here in this special environment and with lots of enthusiasm and energy. I'm going to talk about what I'm doing in the Netherlands. I'm from Agriculture Innovation Brabant. That's a partnership of the farmers organization and the regional government in Brabant. And Brabant is a province in the south of the Netherlands. And we are already active for more than 25 years. And let me first, the Netherlands is well known as a superpower in agri-food and agribusiness. And the trade balance of plus 28 billion euros last year says enough, I think. But this economic superpower also has the need to be such a superpower is a very intense use of land surface. And for example, in the province of North Brabant, that's only 5,000 square kilometers, so that's not as big as Crete, it's smaller than Crete. And we have, in that province, we have 2.5 million inhabitants, but we also have more than 5 million pigs, 26 million chicken, and 600,000 cows. So it's very, very intense in that area. And that intensity also has negative effects. For example, the loss of biodiversity and also a social effect. For example, say in 1950, we still had 400,000 farms, and now we still have 50,000 farms in the Netherlands. So that's only 10% of the farms. And this intensive use and this social effect, say the pressure of society and the pressure of NGOs and environmental issues is gaining, and the sector is thinking from what should we do the next 10 years in the new era. And the sector has some, they say the sector also has a solution for say the negative pressure from society and from environmental issues. And Dutch farming will go beyond just food production in the next decade. They will start producing more services. And services, for example, say agritourism, but also services like producing biodiversity or producing sustainable energy or producing water in quantity and in quality. And that's what the sector wants to do and wants to stimulate and develop in the next 10 years or 20 years more. And this multifunctional farms, it's already developing the last 10 years, but it's still in the beginning, but already 40% of the farms in the Netherlands have multifunctional activities. And for example, agritourism, 2,000 farms are involved in agritourism, and with nature services and biodiversity stimulation, more than 8,000 farms. So that's a lot of farms are active in that kind of activities. And also sustainable energy production is important. And direct sales, especially in last year with COVID, direct sales that doubled in between 2019 and 2020. So that's very interesting for farmers. Direct sales from farm shops and stuff like that. If you look at the revenue of those sales, together all of them are between 2 and 2.5 billion euros last year. And that's 10% of, say, the revenue of the total of the farming in the Netherlands, but it's growing and it's growing. For example, direct sales 10 years ago, that was 50 million euros, and last year it was €500 million. So it's in 10 years, it's multiplied 10 times. And most of the times farmers combine food production and, for example, energy production and direct sales. So they combine all kinds of activities. And in the former session, also the person from Austria, he told that combining different services and different activities is interesting. Now that's what you see in the Netherlands too. And on average, it's already for the farms who are active in those multifunctional agriculture, it's an average of 100,000 euros revenue per farm. And tourism, just one slide about tourism, because it's not my expertise, but tourism is interesting for the Netherlands and for farmers in the Netherlands too, because it's almost it's 4.4% of the GDP, but 2/3 of that, so more than 60%, is spent by the Dutch people themselves. So it's in turn in the Netherlands itself, because the Netherlands is a rich country, and that's interesting for farmers too, because if you look at this as a consumer, there's always within 15 or 30 minutes there is a farm that offers tourism or multifunctional activity. So it's also always close by. Now, my organization stimulates new developments and innovation, and we stimulate about between 30 and 40 projects per year. And now I'm having 6 projects here that we stimulated in the last decades. And for example, this is a fruit farm in Eindhoven, and they started 20 years ago with other services. They had 10 hectares of apples and pears 20 years ago, and now they offer an experience with a pancake restaurant, with an information center, and with a shop. And last year, 150,000 people visited that farm. So it's a completely new business model for this farm. And every visitor spends about 10 euros, so that's a revenue of 1.5 million people. And also some Greek people visited in 2019. That's the picture on the right side. And this is an overview of the fruit farm in Eindhoven. There's also a cooperation in agritourism. We call it VKABO, and that's more than 1,000 farms cooperate in sort of a union to offer to a website and to do more marketing towards the consumer. And they offer different campsites and bed and breakfast and apartments. All kinds of agritourism is offered by this cooperation of 1,100 farms, and they are spread around in the Netherlands. Another thing that's what I told, that's developing pretty fast. This is a short supply chain. We call it boerschappen. And it started 2015, and now more than 150 farmers are a partner supplier, and they produce all kinds of special products, but the farmers are not used to go to the market easily, and this entity does that very well, and already has a revenue of 10 million euros, and the ambition is to go for 50 million euros in a couple of years. And what's interesting here, that's of the consumer price, 75% of the consumer price stays at the farm. So this entity only uses 25% of the consumer price to do the logistics and the ICT and the marketing. And normally, in normal retail in the Netherlands, it's just the other way around. Normally, it's only 25% that stays on the farm. So this is a really interesting business model for farmers. This is something completely different. This one started 2 years ago. This is a pig farmer who had 1,000 sows in a normal pig way of producing pigs, and he stopped and he transformed his farm into with 6 hotel rooms and all those meeting rooms and a knowledge center for pigs, and he only now has 200 pigs 16 different breeds to show people how the food is produced, but not for production, for a bit, but not in a way that he used to do it with 1,000 sows, because then each show produces 20 piglets, so that's 20,000 small pigs per year, and now he only has 200 pigs. So it's a different business model, and that's what you see is a lot is happening in the Netherlands. This way, just anticipate on the growing market of multifunctional services for consumers. This is something because we have, not enough space, and this is a combination of solar energy and also production of raspberries. Oh, sorry. This is also a combination of functions of energy production and raspberries. And this is a farm who has 1 hectare as a pilot, and he's now expanding to 10 hectares. And that's a very good income for this farmer. And this is a dairy farm. They started, in the 70s already. They were a small farm, but they grew, and 10 years ago they had 180 milking cows, and now in 10 years developing their recreational activities, they now also can accommodate 200 people. So they have a place for 180 milking cows, but also 200 people. And in summary, so you see more farms with services, already 40%. The market is growing, the revenue is already 10%, and it's better connection of farming and society, because that's what we need in the Netherlands. And we were talking about young farmers, and in the Netherlands, young farmers, they like these activities and they like this business activities. They don't like to do what the parents did and double, so scale up. No, they want to do something differently. And so it's an interesting challenge for young farmers, and they like it in the Netherlands. So it's more easy to stimulate young farmers to take over the business and do something else. Thank you.